Well, welcome into Side Sessions here. Steven Strom, Jack McMullen, Marlins manager Clayton McCullough with us now. We are recording here on Friday night. First of all, happy 4th of July. I already love the caps that you guys are going to unveil tonight.
Yeah, Steve and Jack, happy 4th to you guys. Dude, I love the hat.
Yeah.
It looks good across baseball. They did a nice job this year.
So you've won 9 of 10. Are you getting treated any differently at home now? A little bit more respect around the house?
No differently. No, I got the same duties at home, whether we win or lose. So a few more smiles.
I was going to ask, when do you feel like you ditched the idea of having your traditional 4th of July? Because working in baseball, that holiday goes by the absolute wayside. It's a work day for you.
It is a work day.
Yeah.
It's one of those, the summer holidays are work days for us. I don't remember, and it's hard to remember all of the July 4th, like where you were now and what you did, because you knew you had a game.
Right.
And unless you're in D.C. playing the 11 a.m. 4th of July game, it's a fun day. I mean, it's a
Nice. We had an early game yesterday.
American pastime. Yeah, 4th of July baseball. So kind of the way it was, drawn up.
Can I kick us off real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah. If I were to ask you in Jupiter in spring training, okay, Clayton, by July 4th, over or under 1.5 managerial ejections, would you have taken the over or the under? Because the over hit.
The over hit.
The over smashed.
I would have taken the under. Yeah. I think, okay, one. I would have seen, probably one. So I don't know if I would have gone the over, but I did. I would have been wrong there.
So I think it's a great transition because when we asked you a couple days ago, when did you feel like things started to cook a little bit? When did you feel this sort of span start to percolate? And you point to that Tampa series, which you and Xavier Edwards got ejected from that series. But beyond that, like, what about that moment or that series, and that was a 3-city road trip where you really did start to feel like, I don't know if you knew you were going to win 8 in a row at some points and play this well, but what was it about it that you walked away and said, I think we're figuring things out?
It felt like we knew it was going to go in there. One, playing a really good team. Tampa has a good team, a lot of different ways to beat you. They were playing very well. The conditions were going to be difficult. The 3-day games there. And I felt like we played really well in all three. Like there were a couple of close games. We had the one high scoring affair. So I still like the play X made, going up the middle, throwing home, getting that out at the plate was remarkable. And, so we had some starters, unfortunately, that, got nicked up and had to come out short. So and then like the guys in the bullpens really kind of rallied around that. And we threw a bullpen game. So it was a lot of guys stepping up and contributing. And then we went to Pittsburgh, and the first one there wasn't great. That was probably like the real clunker. But how we came back after that, the next two, and then to go sweep in Washington felt like, okay, we're winning some of these games, especially in Washington on the road that, we had lost. And, you get up and it will come back, or a close one let slip away. So getting that sweep, it felt like, okay, like we, on the road is a hard thing to do. The Phillies series was close, all 4 games, and then to win a series versus the Braves here at home. So for me, it kind of felt during that stretch that we just played so many closely contested games, and we were figuring out how to come up on the right side of those. And at no point during that week at home with the Phillies and Braves, I think guys, we're playing the Phillies or we're playing the Braves. Like I think our group was just past that. And it was like, what do we need to go do to try to win today's game and go execute at a high level? And it felt like that's kind of been more the mission versus, who we're playing and who you're up against.
For me in Pittsburgh, it felt like that series, there were victories within the victories. And I know game 1, it was that loss, but that was Yuri Perez's season debut. And getting Yuri back, I'm sure you got a billion texts when you got this job. You get to be the guy to manage Yuri Perez in his return from Tommy John surgery. And then Sandy goes 6 scoreless the next day. Those little victories there, having Yuri's presence back and having Sandy and that Sandy mode unlocked in Pittsburgh, what did that do to kind of propel you guys forward, knowing that you have Yuri and Sandy, and then, oh man, look at Cabby. You have a whole bunch of guys that are throwing the ball really well.
Yeah, that's getting Yuri back was a big boost for the organization. Like, everybody, medical staff, how much time Yuri and they spent during this rehab process. It took a lot, to get a talent like that back. Certainly, we were all very excited for him to get back on a major league mound, and understood that it was going to take some time, that this was a lengthy recovery coming back, and then to go back into major league competition, that, there was going to just be a little bit of time before he got into the rhythm of things, which we were, okay with, because that upside is so tantalizing. And as you mentioned, Sandy has been on a good run, throwing the ball so much better. Cabby's been outstanding. Cal has given us good starts, and then you throw, Jansen, Junk. So we have the rotation has been performing very well, and you couple that with the bullpen, and I think overall from a pitching side, how much better we've been with throwing strikes and not walking people. And so I think they just kind of all fed off of each other, and it feels like now it's just a good start, into the next. I think that happens during the course of the season, like, when groups of positional groups kind of feed off of each other and want to, be them. Okay, it's my day now to go do this. So it's been great to see, and it's been a big part of us, playing as well as we have.
Clayton, I want to start as well, just like in the bleachers, and we'll work our way into tonight's series against the Brewers. But one of the big questions going into 25 was, we need to figure out who's going to be here for the future. Do you feel like you guys are getting closer to getting those answers with the guys you have out in the field now?
I think we've seen a number of players with opportunity, really step up and perform. And the major league level, the evaluation will always be going on.
Yep.
And to see what Kyle Stowers has done, we've seen come out of the gate as well as he did, and even more encouraging to see Kyle go through a rough patch. And look, some of it was the hand. He was dealing with a little something. How much that affected him, not sure, but how he was able to bounce back from that and get back to the version we saw early in the year is just very encouraging for a young player to show some resiliency and be able to make adjustments. Dane Myers has been a real pleasant surprise. Both sides of the ball. He coming to the infield. Otto Lopez as well. Like, starting the year, him and X deserve a lot of credit for how they just handled the entire, flip-flop, the positional change. Not easy, right? Kind of on the fly during the season. X having some history playing second, I'm sure, helped some. And then what Otto just going over there and seamlessly, sliding right in and playing very well at short. And now offensively, he's kind of really hitting his stride. And then, you get the catching core, Augustine, Liam, Nick has been very selfless during this entire thing and has played very well. So I think, yes, we are. And I think, Eric Wagner we've talked about a lot. Norbs is coming around, I think, really on both sides of the ball. The numbers might not reflect that with Connor. I think his at-bat quality is getting better.
Absolutely.
He's understanding that the importance of controlling the strike zone and how, what of a difference maker that'll be for him. And on the defensive side, he's really making strides. So I think as a group, they're believing in what their capabilities are and trusting in that. And we're seeing, I think across the board, a lot of our position players in particular take some real steps.
It's probably a little bit more cut and dry with X because, he may be more comfortable defensively. That in return, like, creates offensive success. With Otto, it might be a different beast. Why do you feel like Otto Lopez has gotten better offensively since the move to short?
I think in some ways, like Otto, a guy like him, to be one, he earned it, but provided the chance to play shortstop every day. I think a lot of for someone that takes more of a windy path to now, okay, you're going to be our starting shortstop is, I think, from a big confidence boost. Like, wow, not only these guys believe in me, as someone that can contribute and play every day, but now I'm going to slide over and play, a premium position on a regular basis. That was a big confidence boost for him, and the offensive ability was there. I mean, like these guys always made a lot of contact. He's impacting the ball differently than he has in the past. He's as well tightening up his strike zone, and now it's like, okay, I think Otto at least sees that he knows he can play every day in the big leagues. Like, I think he's kind of past that now, and you're not looking over your shoulder anymore, wondering if you're going to be in the lineup the next day or what's going to happen. I know I'm going to be there, and so I can just focus on what I need to do to, be able to be a productive player on both sides.
Who or what do you see when you watch Augustine Ramirez hit?
Let's say Albert Pujols.
What a great outcome, right? I think he's, I still can't get over how hard he hits the ball on a regular basis. And I could tell, like last night, the first at bat, he fouled a couple balls off, but the foul balls were like really good misses. He's under the ball.
What is it about him as a hitter? It's
just the way he stands in there, and he's so strong, and it's really quiet. Like, there's not really a whole lot going on, and then he unleashes, this ferocious swing. That's and the way it comes off, and again, like I guess he missed under a couple, which was a good sign. Not getting out and around and smothering some balls. I mean, he elevates it. He gets it off the ground as hard as he hits it, and that's why so much extra base potential is there. And I mean, who he looks like.
Because you've been around some dudes, and I'm not trying to tell me Shohei or Freddie or Mookie,
The
but
physicality, I don't know, like someone like Gary Sanchez, or like he was younger, like just that big physical body. Then he didn't have to do a whole lot to generate the bat speed, big moves. It was just very, it's a pretty simple swing
Yeah.
for the guy who hits the ball that hard.
what do you tell him when he grounds out at like 120 to shortstop when he comes back to the dugout?
Yeah, good pass. He hit it hard again. And I think that's what at times gets frustrating for him. Like as he hits the ball, so hard, and when it's on the ground, it's generally not a great place to be. But you also know, like, that's just a millimeter. It's just a fraction of difference in how you attack the angle at which you attacked it, or part of the ball you hit, that you're so close to, that being a much different result. But hitting the ball with that type of velocity on a regular basis, it leads to good outcomes.
We were talking to Derek Showman yesterday, and he said he could have 30 homers right now based on the quality of misses or the quality of foul balls that he's hitting. To your point, you're a fraction off of the barrel, and that creates, an 111-mile-an-hour line out to Harrison Bader yesterday. It's a tough one, but if that's, a 3-degree difference, that's into the seats for a multi-homer day. It's just amazing to think this guy could be a 25, 30 homer guy after not playing in the major leagues for the first month. How excited are you for, not just the rest of the 25 season, but 26 and 27 with Agustin Ramirez, knowing that you might have a catcher that's a 30 to 35 homer threat in the big leagues?
Very excited. Very excited for Augustine. I think he's just scratching the surface. It is.
A couple guys like that.
We believed in the bat. Yeah. Believed in the bat a lot, and it's not just all or nothing. I mean, he's shown the ability to draw some walks. He can continue to improve on that front. He doesn't go on these crazy runs of striking out a whole lot. Most part he does. He can control the zone and make contact at a high rate, especially someone for that type of power. And it's scary for the National League and exciting for us, as you mentioned, that this guy, I mean, it's only going to get better, because also believe in the person. He's driven to be great. He understands that it is going to be adjustments are going to continue to have to be made, which he's already had to make some. We look back, and after Terry got off they started spinning him like crazy, and it was like, let's go soft, let's keep the ball away from him, change directions, hard in and soft away, and you know what? It's good. Like, now you have to make your move back and adjust to what's going on. And he's clipped some hanging breaking balls like he did in San Fran and a couple other occasions. So he's making adjustments. He'll have to continue to do that. And defensively, I feel like he's throwing the ball much better now. Yeah. He's improving behind the plate, which he's very much committed to doing that, as we are going to continue to be on him about the difference in being an everyday frontline catcher compared to being a DH. There's a big difference. And so him being able to pull that off, which we believe he will, is going to be a big difference maker for us.
You go into one of the guys that he works with. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of credit goes to Cabby, but who else deserves a piece of the pie for the development and, frankly, the revelation of Edward Cabrera?
Our pitching group, Bill Hiesel, our director of pitching, Daniel Moscas, and a long leash Matt. I think even in the off season, they, if you've been around and seen Cabby pitch, like the talent, everyone has been enamored with that. And I think they felt like there was really some opportunity to improve his breaking balls. There was like some real opportunity to hopefully drive home the messaging and the importance of just really in the box, like throwing strikes and not needing to be edgy, and relying on some breaking stuff with maybe some more regularity, and knowing that the velocity is there. The changeup is a very special pitch, but to mix in and add to his arsenal and improve his breaking stuff, and you put those all together, feels like it's certainly a different version and different run than he's been on. I think they deserve a lot of credit from getting Cabby to buy into the value and the importance of the strike throwing, and giving up hits is okay. Please, like we encourage you to go up there and actually give up hits, because if you're in the strike zone with regularity, we believe that it's going to be much harder than you think for people to go out there and just one after another bang you around. And Cabby, like, he's at a point in his career, and he was, where it's like it's time to go. Like, enough of being what could be, and now it's let's step on it, put your foot down, and go make some adjustments. And he's certainly done that.
I got one more broad question, then I'll do tonight with the Brewers. But for us, the second half of the season, I think when it comes to what does a successful one look like, people talk about record, people talk about certain questions you guys have. What is it? What does a successful rest of the season look like for you as the manager of this team?
For me, the success the rest of this year, the second half for us is like no let up. It is the same things that we've been doing. You have to continue to do those. And as we get deeper into the summer and we get into September, it's not. I hope we keep playing well and we keep pushing towards, and just keep winning games and not worry about everything else going on, playing well. And that when you get into September, we have to there's 2 months left in the season. Like, this is how you have to go through a major league season. Is not, you get to September 1 and, well, we got a month left and, we'll start really thinking about getting you guys ready for next year. It's like, no, you're going to come out and continue to prepare and
play meaningful September.
That's right, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do here. Yeah, that's what we want to get to. Is that you get into September, man, we have 2 months left. Like, it's not, you don't let off the gas then because you start to see this end of the finish line. It's the exact opposite. Like, you have to be playing your best in the summer and into August and September. That's when the real teams will separate themselves from the pack. So for me, it's like there's just no let up with how we prepare, no let up on the work, that we, continue the way we've been approaching our preparation and playing in this manner, from here on through the end of the season.
Your guys had early mornings for a month and a half in Jupiter. It was impressive to see the level of work that was being put in spring training. Is there a sense of take R&R when you possibly can, or managing these guys to make sure that they're all systems go in September and they're still entirely healthy playing meaningful September baseball?
Great question. That's a topic we talk about a lot. And, is there actually, but I believe there is some benefit of sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And, to maximize the recovery part of it, maximize your time in the weight room, in the training room, that will lead to a better product. That it's not just all about how many swings to take in a day or how many ground balls. There is certainly time, continuing to improve your skills, but there's also some real benefit to, not running yourself in the ground in that manner. So I think it'll be something as a staff we continue to discuss through, and like, how do we want to approach, the back half of the season, and then even in general, how do we want to approach the beginning of next year? Like, are there ways and things we think we can potentially optimize for that we believe will give our, our group a leg up?
You got another broad question, or you want to do tonight? I'm good. Let's start this weekend. The Battle of the Midwest. That's what we labeled it this week. Took 2 out of 3 against the Twins. But this Brewers team, when we were prepping for them, they walk, they run the bases well, they pitch well. They don't slug a ton, but it feels like they just make the routine, which you say all the time. Is this a little bit of a team that you would emulate or try to emulate in the Milwaukee Brewers?
Have always appreciated the way Milwaukee's gone about it. And every time playing against them, you knew they weren't going to beat themselves. Like, they were going to have very athletic players that play defense at a very high rate, solid arms, and an offense that will put the ball in play and put pressure on you when given the chance. And that's a fun style of baseball. And it's a style of baseball that I think here we have, that's kind of what we've been doing here
You're
for
seeing
the
yes.
last month.
Yes.
It feels like that's what we've been doing. Is we've been an uptick in aggression on the bases, and our pitching has been terrific. And offensively, to us too, we control the strike zone and try to move the ball forward, and play defense, because at least those types of things, slug is so hard to come by, and we all see it helps, right? When you get the 3-run homer, like we've gotten some, it does help. But kind of the control in the strike zone from both sides, the pitching and offensively, and playing high quality defense, which gives you so much more margin for error over the course of the season to be able to withstand some times when maybe you aren't swinging it as great, to win some close games. So I've always admired the way Milwaukee has gone about it, and they seem to just year after year continue to come up with players. And I think the last thing with them is they do a very good job of developing their players when they get here. They introduce a lot of young, talented players to the major leagues, but it seems like they're better in year 2, and those guys get better in year 3. And that's a real sign of a strong organization and coaching.
I've got a broad one. If you have another
I'm done.
Brewers one. No. Okay. Last one from me. You're a little bit more, I think it's like halfway in 2 games through your first season managing the Miami Marlins. How has this community embraced you to this point?
It's been great. And for me, with each week and each month, this is home. South Florida has been our home for 10 years, and to now, doesn't quite feel like the water hose is turned on as high. I think settling into everything, and now
It's not off.
it's not off. It never will be. But
Gotcha.
getting out to some different places to go have dinner, or just getting around the greater Miami area a little bit more, taking my son to a baseball camp at the University of Miami. So. And those are things I hope we'll continue to do more in the community, get out and around more. Everyone has been great, and appreciate their passion for not only the game of baseball, but also wanting this team and this organization to do well. And we know we have a lot of responsibility in that, and we share the same goals and interests that our fans do, as well as wanting to put a winning product on the field for a long time.
And we've seen it as of late. Thank you so much for joining us again, Clayton. This is on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Side Session, Steven Strom, Clayton McCullough, Jack McMullen. We'll talk to you next time.